Throughout my time covering lost media here on YouTube, I get a lot of requests to cover topics that range from things like musicals, TV shows, and so on, the basic lost media stuff. And while I try my best to understand such things, a lot of requests don't appeal to me as much as they do to the individual requesting them, and thus, doesn't have that big of an impact on me. Recently, I received an email from someone discussing a lost browser game with little documentation around it, and I've got to admit, while I had no idea what he was talking about, my interest was piqued. Today we're going to take a look at that, so go ahead and sit back, relax, grab a snack, start playing a really good game, and get cozy, because today we're diving into the mystery of Shidonni. On November 25th, 2021, an individual named Sammy had emailed me the following email. Hey! You probably get emails all the time about things like this to cover in your Lost Media series, and if you find that this isn't interesting enough to cover, that's okay and understandable, but hear me out. I'm 17 years old and have fond memories of a game for children called Shidonni. My age is important here because this game came and went before I was old enough to understand the beauty and significance of it. Shidonni was a free-to-play browser-based virtual world for kids that taught them to channel their creativity. The premise was simple: whatever you draw comes to life. When your drawings were submitted and animated, you could then begin taking care of them and having fun with them. This game had a lifespan of around 5 years, from 2008 to 2013 to 14. What made the shutdown so surprising was the game was relatively successful. Not the same success as many similar children's games, but they had a decent amount of revenue from their premium service. At least I would assume. At the time of its shutdown, Shidonni had many parent review services praising it. Now, there's little to nothing. The reason I consider this lost media is because the only proof this game existed is websites detailing its shutdown and the minuscule amount of YouTube content on it. There's no Wikipedia, no website to announce the shutdown, and any remnants of the company are on a LinkedIn copy website called Crunchbase. I've found a group of people who remember the game and have attempted creating a rewritten project. We have a little over 35 to 40% of every asset we need. Everything else is seemingly lost to the wind without more people to help us. It feels impossible to generate any progress in our current state. We've tried Reddit, multiple archive sites, and even contacting any previous staff with the Shidonni company. We're at a point where we need to get people remembering, and we thought someone like you with a huge audience, someone who covers exactly this type of stuff, could help us. Shidonni isn't dark lost media or eerie lost media, but it's still worthy of looking into, even if you come to the conclusion that it isn't worth your time. I'll be attaching all the websites I can find with any information on this. If you need any other information, do not hesitate to email us back at any of the 3 email addresses at the bottom of this email. Thank you so much for everything you do for Lost Media. Look how nice he was! Anyways, Sammy had attached various websites that I could use for getting started looking at the information. Personally, I had never heard of Shidonni, but as someone who grew up with various online games like Moshi Monsters and Movie Star Planet, I wasn't hesitant to look into this. It was something new, yet nostalgic. First website link was MMOgames.com. It had a whole page about Shidonni. Already, we're off to a good start. On the sidebar to the right, we have details about the game, including genre, fee, developer, and status. We're even provided with a user rating, 8.4 stars out of 10. On this page, there are 2 different images of the game. There are 3 bodies of text on the page, one detailing what exactly Shidonni is, why it's unique, and something for parents to read. The details about what Shidonni is can be easily summed up. It was a browser game that allowed players to draw things that came to life. The players could then interact with these drawings and let their imagination run wild. Pretty much everything that was said in the email. What makes Shidonni unique? Well, it's basically just a reiteration of what was said in the first paragraph, but more emphasis on imagination. The parents paragraph is basically about the safety and privacy of Shidonni. That's basically all this website has to offer outside of these 2 pictures, which, in all honesty, I have no idea what's going on in them. It's important to note that the publisher and developer have the same name, Shidonni. The status of the website is set as shut down, so at least this page is aware of Shidonni's fate. The next website was primarygames.com. I'm assuming this is a website where you'd be able to play the actual game, because it doesn't work. There's a few helpful links on the website, but I'll be coming back to those later. There was a link to Shidonni news blog page, so I decided to check that out, and I sat waiting for 10 minutes while a stupid little loading bar that just said retrieving RSS feeds buffered. Fun! There was another link on this site, however, and it led me to a WordPress site. The last post is from December 9th, 2009, basically talking about how Shidonni is being used in school. There are a few other posts, including one about making your Shidonni into a plush. A link to their Facebook was here as well, however, I'll be returning to that in a bit. first I'm going to finish these links that Sammy sent me. The third website is a change.org petition to bring Shidonni back. At the time of me writing the script, it currently has 1,458 signatures, with people signing it quite recently. If you guys are interested, I'll try to remember to put the petition in a pinned comment or the description. There's also a link to their Discord on that link. I went ahead and joined it, so yeah. The fourth link was to the Shidonni YouTube channel. There are currently 7 videos on the channel. The oldest video, Shidonni's animated book, is from 12 years ago. The most recent video, Shidonni One of a Kind Collection, is from 10 years ago. Despite 3 of these videos having well over 100,000 views, the channel only has 648 subscribers. I decided to go ahead and watch the videos. Most of the videos were simply just gameplay videos. However, the ones that weren't gameplay were about their plush services. The channel has 2 subscriptions, one to Shay Carl and the other to Shay Tards. The channel was made in March of 2009 and over its lifespan has accumulated 845,769 views. That's pretty much it for the YouTube page. The final link was to the Crunchbase page for Shidonni. There's an about page for the Shidonni organization that simply reads, Shidonni develops browser-based tools for educating and entertaining children aged 5 to 12. Interestingly, the organization has a location listed on the page, Israel. Even more interesting were that 2 of the founders were listed on the page. That was super good because now we had names attached to it and some contacts to go with it. Before reaching out to the contacts found on Crunchbase, I decided to jump back to the WordPress site for anything I was potentially missing. There was someone on there with a different name making posts, someone who went by a very unique username. By plugging that name into Google, I was able to find their website. Another author on the WordPress site had a YouTube channel, which I decided to visit. Not much was on there aside from their personal life. On the right-hand side of the WordPress site, there are various links that are associated with Shidonni. There was a About Shidonni link with what I can assume to be a defunct email address due to it being at shidonni.com. So, yeah. There was also an old Google form for feedback about the Shidonni service. A little bonus on the right is a list of partners associated with Shidonni, one of those partners being primarygames.com. Those were pretty much the only relevant things that were really worth acknowledging. Now onto their Facebook page. The very last post from the Shidonni Facebook page is from March 30th, 2011. And as this commenter says, press F to pay respects. The majority of their recent posts talk about their one-of-a-kind plush service. In fact, that was pretty much the only post for an entire year. They were really pushing this plush service. Outside of all of that, there really wasn't much going on for the page. I had a list of people I could contact, and I started to reach out. One big problem with that was contacting people was a lot harder due to the amount of defunct contacts that were tied with them. The only person on Crunchbase who had real contacts had all defunct emails. Usually when contacting for lost media, I try to stay away from specific people until the last minute and broaden the search out to bigger companies. Unfortunately, the big company of the situation was Shidonni as a whole. However, they are literally nowhere. The only thing closest to that would be their Facebook page, which I messaged, but in all honesty, expected nothing back from. Lo and behold, I was actually quite surprised when I received a message back from the page. Simply put, the brand was discontinued and no one uses it. That's really it. Well, back to primarygames.com. Their links were pretty much dead as well, with their contacts for Shidonni being everything linked to the Shidonni website. So everything that they had was just as defunct. So now I'm in an awkward position. I've got questions, little to no contacts going on, and yeah. So where do we go now? Entering the Discord server was the best thing I could have done for myself during this search. There was no way I would have been able to figure out the amount of information for my questions without the people involved. So now enters Senor Mastodon. After I had asked the Discord if the person running the Facebook page was also in the Discord, Mastodon stood up and began to answer all of my questions. What a hero. So my first question was, why did Shidonni shut down? Why was it discontinued? It closed due to the lack of funding, contrary to the popular belief that it was due to an outdated framework. Misinformation tends to spread like wildfire when it comes to obscure media. And hey, that's fair. Their only funding, save from the initial angel investment, was the pro memberships and one-of-a-kind plushes. In its last 2 years, it was maintained by a single developer. I don't think there is anyone else though, amazingly enough.
There was a lot more information that Mastodon was able to provide me, and I will admit, I understood none of it. Literally, I know nothing. However, I thought I would throw it in here in case anyone was interested and could understand it. Its animations were made possible due to something called the Blend SDK. Being that it was a Silverlight app, it was C# based. A good chunk of its art is in a proprietary vector format known as a XAML. It was scheduled to be closed on a specific date in 2014. There was a screenshot proving this, but I cannot find it. I believe that the website itself stopped early in 2015, if memory serves me well, though I'm not sure if that's true. It was a small team, only like 3 to 4 devs, and it took like a year. I can verify this by going back in my messages. He went on to tell me that many sites list the one YouTube channel guy as the CEO, but many list the no contacts Crunchbase guy as the CEO as well. So I guess that really solves our mystery. While there's no Wikipedia page for the Shidonni company, no mainstream stuff, the community still thrives. After my conversation with Mastodon, the realization behind everything was starting to set in. The reason they were pushing for these one-of-a-kind plushies was because that was their profit. And you can't exactly ask parents to pay for a pro membership. I mean, honestly, if I was a parent, I wouldn't really bother paying for pro membership because I know my child will grow out of it. However, there is a dedicated audience for Shidonni, hence the desire to remake the game and have any remnant of such found. I see a lot of potential today when looking at Shidonni, so it's unfortunate that this thing was lost so easily. In my own opinion, I definitely think it could have survived with the right audience, right leadership, right promotion, and right timing. I mean, hey, look at how long Bin Weevil's lasted. So, time for my final thoughts on this topic. While I didn't find anything left of the game outside of screenshots and short videos online, it still leaves this large window for potential with the topic. Friendly reminder that this thing had little documentation online, no Wikipedia page, hard to find instances of it being mentioned, etc. I think that's why this topic stood out to me so much, and why I was literally so willing to cover it that I would talk to anyone who knew about it. I love these kinds of topics, mainly because of how much nostalgia it had to other people, despite being so obscure. It honestly gets the thought going of how many similar games existed online and have suffered the same fate. I just wanted to give a huge thanks to the Shidonni Discord server for helping me with this video. I wouldn't have been able to do it without their help. I will be putting the change.org petition in the description of the video so that people can sign it if they remember it and want it back. I really want to thank everyone for watching, even if this video was shorter than what's been usually going on. I know it's been forever since I've done a search video, and I'm gonna go ahead and say something that I say during every one of these videos. Just because I couldn't find something doesn't mean you can't either. While it's lost, there are people working to restore the project to its former glory, so our job isn't over yet. Anyways guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and comment down below to let me know what you think of this video. If you're interested in more of my content, then consider subscribing, it's free, and you can click that bell icon to be notified of my next upload. As always guys, it's been a blast, and I will see you all next time. Peace!